Well, this is going to be an interesting one. How's it going, everyone? We're live. We're going PSG Talon versus Flyquest for today's live stream. And it's the first of many for MSI. You're getting 2 for the price of 1 today. You've got Flyquest versus PSG, as well as T1 versus Estral, and I think we're all quite well aware of how this series goes, well, more specifically the T1 series, later in the day. So, we're going into draft as always. This should be the most interesting of things. And I'm just going to say it now. Call me Mystic Mac, because I flippin' got it correct straight away with this series. So, also, I'm lacking some music that is kind of important to the live stream, some noise. I'm just going to pop some Pokemon music on for you guys with all my hockey and sports. Because everyone knows Pokemon music is actually pretty chill, pretty good. There we go. Hopefully that is well adjusted. I think I can lower it a little bit. There you go. So, that's the one thing I like about Opera as a browser, is it shows that. Anyway, game 1 of the best of 3. Flyquest are on which side? Blue side. PSG are on red. Already seeing the bands Vi, Callista, Ari, Lee Sin, Renekton, as well as presumably a strong mid laner like Azir, being meta picks overall for these people. Obviously, Jensen, very strong control mage player. They are going to ban the Varus here. So, first pick for this Flyquest squad. Kaiser up and available. Very strong right now. You've got engage picks of Varel up, ready. Naught's the other one. I expect, presumably, jungle on 1 and then sup/AD on 2 for PSG, because what is up and available? Kaiser, but Nautilus kind of is a heavy counter pick to said pick. Senna actually going to come through, so TK probably on 2. That leaves over arguably an aggressive hyperscaling bot lane. Jinx, Kaiser. You've also got options in the Xayah, if you want to go for a bit more safety. Obviously, coming into this meta, the available picks aren't... There's no new picks coming into MSI. So Jinx Talia is actually quite a nice thing to see come through. I'm intrigued to see the response from PSG. Mid lane is up and available, so there's not much change in terms of the meta between the last we broke down, or the last series we broke down, which was the LEC finals. So, as a whole, the games that we're going to see today shouldn't be too special, but there's going to be some uniqueness to them, as obviously it's a new patch. Now, the response bands coming in here, we're going to look at top side. Jax, I think, could be prevalent for these two teams. What else is there? Jax. Top laners, Cassante. What else is there? There's arguably not too much. Jungler-wise, there's quite a few. Viego, carry heavy. Xin Zhao, also quite powerful. Rel is available. Could see a ban towards her. But it's Inspired, who obviously likes Viego a lot. Carry-orientated junglers are his style of pick. Belveth maybe even coming through here for him. I think that would fit him. And looking at the rest of the comp, Flyquest it is looking or needing some more AD damage, I think, in the top side. And some frontline engage. So, we may see Bwipo go tankier. Cassante would fit the meta build a bit more nicely for him. Wukong gets banned out. That's kind of a nice ban. There we go. Sorry, I'm just grabbing my headphones as I'm getting comfy for today's stream. What else is there that could be picked up here by these two teams? I think, realistically speaking, actually, we can boost the music a bit. There is none. I can't even turn it up because I'm drawing. Nice. So, I think, as a whole, there we go. Anyway, let's get back into draft, shall we? So, Flyquest have a fairly decent draft. Obviously, Bwipo Zergot is his more unique pick. So, there's that. As for PSG, carry top laners. It's an interesting battle of top laners, because level 9 for Urgot is going to be very powerful. He gets the W. Anyway, draft is well and truly done. Let's get into game. I'm intrigued to see how this one will shape up. As a whole, looking at the drafts, I'd say late game you're definitely looking at the Flyquest side of things. You got a lot of engage with the Nautilus Sedge and bulk in that front line with the Urgot as well. Consistent damage-wise, the Urgot will provide a bit of it. Same with Talir and Jinx into later games. But you see the scaling on Flyquest side and look at PSG's. They've kind of matched the scaling with the Senna Azir. It's a very strong, potent set of picks. Excuse me. Side note, can we point out the fact that they've just reused last year's MSI stage? It looks exactly the same, minus the underground feel you got from the UK one. This one doesn't feel like it's anything special. I do like the unique pick ban phase in terms of look, but I don't like the Emphirium effect, as I'll go with it, or the basically it's just if you have a heat gun, putting that up to surfaces and checking the heat of things. It's like one of them, like blobs. So it's like such a bad like setup that hasn't really been thought about. Anyway, on to the riff for the first game of MSI. Here we go, boys and girls and people of around the world. Here we go. Just going to move my phone over there because that's got my chat on. Already seen something interesting as we're still in a lane swap meta. This isn't actually something we saw in the LCS too much because it was mainly brought in via the LEC. Can we just agree G2 invented lane swap meta for this season? I know they probably weren't, but hey. Looking at this actual, I'm slightly annoyed at the hood just being flat and then jagged there. Like, it could have actually got a decent hood and matched the LEC of having just even across the board, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, getting into this, looking at the runes to start it off, it is going to be fleet footwork for the Ergot in top side. Nothing else interesting on Flyquest side of things. Obviously, best of 3, so changes could adapt through the matchup. Don't actually know what runes the Senna's running. Presumably, it'll be fleet footwork in her own right. Whereas, already, this is interesting. The Rumble level 1 ganking obviously can't really do much in the top side because Jinx not very potent, level 1, very strong. Obviously the ramping attack speed Jinx has in her kit, very potent, hard to deal with if you're a Rumble who can't really farm. This is actually quite smart from Flyquest or Inspired. He realizes the threat of the level 1 tower dive because Rumble has pathed his way down here. This could be a counter kill over, but they're doing well here, Flyquest, to deny the gank. The issue is, obviously, it's a massive wave into the tower. TP's actually invested here. That's going to be Tom Kench heading to the top side. He's isolating himself into this 2v1 lane. He is going to try and claim as much farm as possible. It's quite an interesting play, to say the least. But, this is why you can't really into the Tom Kench lane swap meta. Or Senna Tom Kench is such a hard matchup to lane swap into. Because Tom Kench can farm isolated. Senna can sit around anyone and pick up souls. Realistically speaking, this matchup for Flyquest is very, very hard for them to play out. I'll be honest. It's very, very hard. So, this possibly could be a dead bot lane. They gone. TP, actually, never mind. Rumble's used to TP. So, no death there in the bot lane. He's wasted his summoners to get back, so they're not going to overextend the play. So there's that. I'm also going to do something really weird here. So forgive me as I pause, because this audio is really loud for me. I don't like listening to the music. So I'm going to do that, and then do that. Hopefully, that's even it out. I'm actually probably going to have to check that. Anyway, into the game we go. Let's take a look at everything as it stands. We've just seen first backs come through in the mid lane for Jensen. Got himself his tier, so he's going to be quite fine just sitting in lane. Finally, Drake's going to come up. Actually, it's quite loud. Give me a sec. There we go. That's probably better for me. So, here we go. Back into the game. Sorry for the distractions. It's been a while since I've streamed, let's be honest. So, this should be quite interesting, to say the least. Lane swap meta still taking effect. Topside now has the TK center into the Ergot. I think Ergot being kind of stagnated a little bit kind of is hurting it. Presumably is going to go Sundered Sty in the build. Just so you get the extra damages. That's a good stun there by Jensen. To deny the Azir. That's kind of nice. So, yeah, this overall is looking pretty good for Flyquest, considering they do have good scaling. The possibilities of this tower dive, considering the fact that they've also avoided their own 4-stack in the bot lane that PSG mounted, is pretty good. But here's the inspired style. Inspired, phenomenal jungler who I've said in the breakdown or the Anarchy analysis prediction series, he likes to farm. And he is a big player towards objectives like the Drakes. Now, obviously, this Drake is first one in the game. Ocean Drake number 1 is pretty good. Seeing the Cloud Drake second is pretty huge. You're kind of wanting to, however, avoid the Chemtech Soul now. But the fact that it's not going to be Cloud Soul is quite good because it means that champions like Rumble or Jarvan can't really utilize their ultimate as frequently, and you think Rumble plus Jarvan is such a deadly hot pot of medley of damage, and that being got down is a huge tool. Now, we are starting to see a play. Hook gonna go wide. A good play overall, or initiation of a play there by Flyquest. Also a good denial of the back from RZ. So, realistically speaking, you look at this setup. Oh god, I've just realized something. All the players' names on the side are capitalized and not in their actual format. That's so ugly. Anyway, now that I've pointed out a really annoying thing to look at on this HUD, let's talk about statue or status of the game. 8 minutes on that big, beautiful clock. 6 minutes or 8 minutes? It's hard to tell. 8 minutes, I can't read. Can you tell? 8 minutes on the big, beautiful clock, and we are starting to see the lane swaps continue. Flyquest not spotted on that ward is huge. It means that this bot lane can sneak in. They're keeping the Jinx into Rumble matchup because they realize that they can't really, well, they shouldn't really be matching into Senna Tom Kench, who, as people should be aware, can quite freely hit the wave and not be punished. Senna, obviously, the ever-increasing range as the game goes along, and Tom Kench just can farm. Anyway, top side, already starting to see a play as first blood comes through for Flyquest. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Bwipo playing on the edge. The Urgot not going to fall just yet, is going to be chunked, and is able to get away without burning any summoners. That is a pretty big play, because they also got the Cataclysm out from the Jarvan. So now Masu can just play with some safety or aggression, that's the way we want to word it, and not feel the pressure of a Jarvan breathing down his neck, as the threat of the Cataclysm combination is no longer there for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Cataclysm, one of the shorter ultimate cooldowns in the game, will be up probably just before this next Drake. However, I'm looking at these timers. You got a minute until Void Grubs, a minute 30 to next objective. I think what we'll see here is Flyquest bot lane back soon. Head up topside towards this Herald or the pit, and then go for them, because they've already started to litter this topside with wards, and that was kind of the side they were playing towards with this Jinx. So getting these Void Grubs before, or denying 5 Grubs from PSG is going to be the huge play. Already seeing Jensen in this top side is a nice thing, because he can reset, allow Urgot to go down. Plus, the waves are kind of being kept. Like, they're not losing out on CS or XP or gold. So Flyquest matching quite well. Jensen's ulti looks to be on cooldown. So I assume he used that to get to the play. Or he hasn't leveled it yet. Because I'm not seeing any levels in the Weaver's Wall. Now he has. Now it's just come up. Am I insane, or was it on cooldown? It wasn't on cooldown. Because Inspire's ult's now on cooldown, and he failed to make the play. So because they failed to make a play, it means that they actually are going to seed all 6 Void Grubs. Not the best. However, they have got set up around the Drake now. So Flyquest's going to look to play stacking souls, as that's equalizer use. Yeah, PSG aren't necessarily looking to fight this. They realise that all of Flyquest are down there, hence why Rumble ulted the wave, because he expected a play. Good hook there by Busio to get to safety. The interesting thing is Flyquest didn't burn the Drake. They have now started to seed the Baron Pit and Drake Pit. Instead, they're looking for a play onto Maple, who dashes forward into the Unraveled Earth, but he gets meat grinders. Somehow he had a shutdown. Turret plating. I don't even think that's true, because I don't think they actually count towards that. Anyway, because Flyquest made the top play, they seed Drake. They tried to make that same top play twice in a row. And it worked out the second time as Hexol. That's kind of a nice thing to be playing towards. Ooh. Interesting first item for the Tom Kench. Going for the Hollowed Radiance. It's a nice item. It's interesting going into double ADCs that you go for that. But yeah, this play, it's just well executed. Maple, you're probably thinking he could just have Emperor's Divided, but because of the way Whippo played it, he played distance and was just closing it down. The Emperor's Divide would have probably been flashed. It was well worked there by Flyquest because they didn't invest their dashes or anything to get Maple or get closer. They just forced him to make a mistake. That's 5 to 8 in turret plates. Just looking at the graphic up top. And that's interesting because I'm just looking at champions in terms of items. Completed itemers. That's the dead Nautilus. Going to be shot down. Woody going to pick up the first kill of this fight as Inspired is running away. Weaver's Wall also dropped by Jensen, who TP'd in behind but isn't able to get anything. And realistically speaking, that's a waste of the Weaver's Wall. No support. No real big ultis left for Flyquest. They're going to have to seed this Rift Herald. As Senna going to be forced to burn Cleanse. Whippo collapsing down. Inspired could be caught out as that is a great flag and drag out from Junjai as he forces Nautilus to die yet again. That was actually really clean from PSG. Can I just say it? And this is where the game gets broken open. The 2 quick kills over to PSG as Busio gives them over. They are going to, however, PSG give up gold in the bot side. That's a big 3k gold lead though, as Jensen might get jumped on here. The Azir going to spot him out. The Unraveled Earth going to be thrown down. Seismic shove, not going to land. Instead, it's going to be inspired, collapsing down onto the Azir. But Jensen incredibly low, walking back into Junjai, who falls. It's a trade 1-for-1 between these two teams. And the possibilities of more, as once again, Busio is rooted. He's caught out and gonna be killed off as Betty gets onto the scoreboard. PSG clean up that fight with the extra kill. And Flyquest, they look to get greedy. Simple as that. Jensen, trying to overstay his welcome, gets punished by PSG. Hopefully we get a replay of that one, because that looked pretty messy from Fly. So we're going to take a pause here. The whole reason this fight is happening is because essentially Jensen just was greeting for first tower. He knows that PSG are going to secure the Herald, or expecting them to go for it. So he's just like, screw it, let's just force this wave in. Let's get ourselves first tower and not give any, like, that bonus gold you get for first tower over to PSG. However, Maple's aware that this play's going on, obviously, because Anderson's on vision. He comes down, Dizir pathing pretty good. So this fight is going to happen. And essentially all Maple is doing here is buying time for the rest of his team. And he is doing work. The Emperor's Divide is great. The flash to follow up and guarantee Jensen is in a bad situation, because he doesn't have ult to get away. He used that after he TP'd, and PSG are well aware that it's invested. So, now it's the mid laners basically both trading 1-for-1. But you then look at the rest of the team that are coming down here, or the other members in this play. You got a Sejuani and a Nautilus versus a Jarvan and a Senna. I don't know about you, but one side is stacking more damage and heavier engage. So PSG are kind of set up here to win this fight, regardless, as instantly Maple gets the kill onto Jensen as well, which is huge. That I didn't realize happened. Anyway, it appears Arzi has been caught as the 3-man death squad gonna get the trade back eventually. That is kind of surprising that that goes through, as realistically speaking, you kind of are expecting the extra members down there from Flyquest, considering that you just killed them there. So, yeah, that happens. Rift Herald, though, finally traded over. You kind of traded first tower for Herald in the end. It's an even players. We watching the picture-in-picture. It's a weird place to have the picture-in-picture, because it covers the mini-map. I'm sorry, I'm already hating this this setup for the broadcast. It's really looking bad. But yeah, Jensen invested the Weaver's Wall to close the gap, and that put Arzi in a sticky situation. Simple as that. That's the explanation I'm going to give for that fight, or that kill over to Flyquest. So, we've taken a bit of a deep dive so far in this game. We are now gracing the 18-minute mark. Items on these two teams. One item on the big carries, as we are starting to position for this Hex Rake. Immediately already going to be a pickup, as Urgot's going to kill off this TK, as now Flyquest have the man advantage, but their health bars are incredibly low, or getting lower and lower with each blow the Senna deals. It's quite hard for Flyquest to step into this PSG squad, as just the upfront engage and the ability to turn by PSG is so hard to deal with. And Flyquest, they get the kill, but they can't really stay around to fight for the Drake. So, have to give that second one over to PSG, who are realistically starting to put pressure down to the map and controlling objectives, and we get to watch it again. Woody steps forward, but Bwipo, he kind of baits in the TK while he gets rooted so that he can just buffer his E and get to safety. That's then when Flyquest will turn into him. It's a pretty easy turn and arguably a overcommit from Woody, who didn't have a guaranteed knock-up. Anyway. Oh. BTO misses the flash over the wall. And so he doesn't get to kill. Simple as that. Flyquest getting desperate, if you can think about it after that one. Is PSG going to drop Herald in mid? It will result in the first tower for PSG falling in the mid lane. It's not their first tower, I don't know why I said that. They are also going to get a massive crash onto the second tower. The tier 2 getting chipped below the half HP mark. And this is starting to become quite hard for Flyquest. As we started to say at the beginning of this game, that the scaling factor the PSG have with the Azir, with the Senna, is just very, very high. And while Flyquest have their own outright scaling with the Urgot and the Talia, and Jinx, I guess, it's just a hard thing to match the scaling that PSG have. So, I personally think that Flyquest are in a bit of a difficult situation where they're possibly going to have to start flipping things or forcing. And that's a hard thing to do, considering they haven't really been able to set up vision around objectives. Because right now, all PSG are doing are grouping up. As I'm getting comfy, I apologize. Essentially, PSG are just grouping up and just invading to get vision, because they're just staying as a team really well. You've got this death ball of Senna TK. You can't really jump or engage onto them because TK can just ferry out this Senna to safety. Now, Urgot obviously is here to clear out vision. Flyquest have managed to get wards in the river as... Oh my, the TK's been caught. Isolated, the shield, the skin not going to save him. It's actually going to result in his death yet again. Good buffer there by Bwipo, as he manages to eat that Jarvan for dinner. The meat grinder is used. That's the jungler down on PSG's side. Are Flyquest feeling funky? Will they go towards this Baron? You kind of have to feel they will. Look at the health bar though. Is Ozzy not going to spot out the back? Bwipo going to get a reset. TP's back in. The Baron started by Flyquest. It's down below 50%. Will the steal come through? TP invested here. That's got to be the TK as the Baron is secured by Flyquest. The Niche re-engage coming through. TK's dead again. Unstoppable goes Bwipo. This Urgot is monstrous as Senna forced the flash away, but the Ultra Mega Deathfire Rocket finds its mark. Flyquest finding the fight after the Baron secure. That's the big turnaround they needed. The force that gets them going. Bwipo is becoming a monster. 5-0 and 2. Full 2 items, the Sterax and the Black Cleaver. He is very tanky, as well as the fact that he has a lot of damage. So we watch this again. I'm going to take a quick pause here. Baron's secured, and you look at the positioning of Flyquest here. You've got your big front man here. He knows this TP's coming in. It's onto a control ward. Control ward TPs are well and truly in vision. And so he's just going to walk forward and hook straight into that gap. If he gets lucky and hits Arzi, then that's a huge buff. But he doesn't really know that Rumble is there. So he'll always throw his hook onto the guaranteed target. Because bear in mind, if you throw a hook onto Betty or Maple, you kind of are risking the Tahm Kench eat to safety. And this is where I'm actually thinking it'd be beneficial for Arzi instead to get hit by the hook if he stayed there. Because then Tahm Kench could have eaten him. And you look at then the follow-up from Flyquest, it would have been probably a dash to here or flash through from Inspired. And then you would be saying, well, Flyquest are clearly overextending here to make the play. I think, personally, TK getting rooted here just isn't the right thing. I would much rather have seen the Rumble die here. Because he could have then at least provided some protection for the center. Or a bit more protection. But realistically speaking, Flyquest played that well to get 2 kills. No damage out from the jungler as expected. And so we will start to see Flyquest play the map. Tier 2 on the bot side started up. The Weaver's Wall used. They're getting a good claps here as the Equalizer has dropped down onto Busio, but he's already chunked very low. The damage is quite high from Flyquest as they're going to pick up 2 kills in this fight. The hook goes wide there, or wayward, as PSG starting to turn this fight. They've already killed off Jensen, and now the Azir looking to press forward. The Jinx is not excited, and she's going to be forced away. The rocket goes wide as Betty heals up his teammate, and not going to be killed off there by the Ultra Mega Deathfire rocket from Mesu. So, Drake number 3, if PSG secure it, Soul Point not going to be given over. It's denied by Flyquest, who, bear in mind, have Baron for another 40 seconds, but PSG feeling confident in this situation, and you kind of have to look at that mid lane. Already 2 completed items on this Azir, building up to either a Crypt Bloom or Void Staff, and both of them are realistically building up to the same item here. Jensen's slightly ahead, but in terms of item completion, but it's still a 700 gold lead to Maple, whom has already had a massive shutdown onto himself early in the game, and yet he's yet again got another bounty. What is happening? I mean, the 40 CSD difference in that mid lane will be playing a big factor into that, but the KDA is also showing quite big for PSG. Maple 2 kills over Jensen, and that is quite a huge thing, as going to be forced to retreat there. Can't really stand in front of Flyquest. Can PSG's backline, because they will be jumped on immediately. You have to feel. Anyway, continuing forward. Baron not on the table for another 2 minutes. PSG are going to be able to weather the storm for a little while. They're just trying to get more and more items. The more scaling into these carries, 3 items realistically is the big breaking point, as Crypt Blooms picked up for both mid laners. They're on their 3rd item. It's the bot side of the map we're starting to look at. There's Namori, Quick Blades, and Ghost Blade in the back pocket of this center, who has got the Cloak of Agility ready and available to her. Probably will look to build a crit item 3rd, maybe even a Rapid Fire Cannon. It could be IE for the extra damage, but it does vary from time to time. Centers aren't really consistent in that build path, So I'm intrigued to see how that one will go, as Flyquest, 4 members in this topside map looking to get onto this tier 2, as Bwipo forced to flash out from the Cataclysm. The Equalizer also dropped, and you're probably thinking, well, that seems like a waste. Well, firstly, PSG are pushing in the bot side for tier 2, and they get a TP out of Flyquest to match or stop Maple's push. They also know that the cooldowns they invested are quite low. Cataclysm, we're already saying, has quite low cooldown. It will be back up for the Baron spawn, and so will the Equalizer. So Flyquest, if they start it on spawn, they realistically will be facing the same hot pot combination that PSG have been prepping for the entire game, as they have got quite a bit of damage now on this side. And Flyquest, they're being boxed out of their own jungle. The Azir Tower, that is what's keeping them back. No wave as well. So putting Flyquest on the back foot here are PSG, and Flyquest stepping forward, trying to get aggressive, trying to keep and push PSG back, thinking that they're stronger. And the gold lead is in favor of Flyquest, but it's interesting to see the fact that the most of the gold lead is in that top side. And if Bwipo gets killed off, then almost certainly it's a one fight for PSG. As while I was rambling on, TK burns his ulti to keep his carry alive. Bwipo nearly got himself another kill as he invested his ulti. Summoner wise, only the Ignite and Ghost out of Flyquest, whereas on the other side of things, it's the flash out from TK, as Inspired not going to land the Q onto Senna, so he's in a bad situation. Baron is up and available. So is the hot pot for PSG, and they're just trying to wait and bait Flyquest to take the objective. They're content with stalling out the game here, PSG. Now obviously Flyquest can go towards this Drake. Soul point for them if they get it. Soul point for either team if they get it. And that is probably going to be the play that these two teams go for, as Bwipo just gets to stand in topside. He is the sentry for his team. He knows that he needs to stay up here, keep vision, and if PSG go towards this, he can basically frontline and protect the objective. So the caveat is, though, if PSG bring multiple members up here, they can't necessarily stay around there, Flyquest, so instead they just back away. Flyquest didn't secure the objective. Instead, they're going to be jumped on here as Bwipo's burning alive. Massive shield from Starix is keeping him slightly more topped up, but instead it's going to be Busio falling as Betty is on a killing spree. And once again, that mid lane tier 1 turned into an Azir Tower. And that's the one pick that PSG needed to turn to this objective. Flyquest's health bars were taken incredibly low off the back of that play. So PSG gonna get the response Baron for themselves. And Flyquest left to pick up the dribs and drabs. You have to think they will secure this straight now. They should have gone for this earlier, because they didn't necessarily need to fight. They could have left the objective. Instead, they peel off, and now they sacrifice this Nautilus, who can't walk backwards because of the equalizer, and then he's just slowed up. It's a good actual flag and drag from Junjai, because it forced Busio to hook into him to deny a continuous chase onto his backline. So, sacrificial play there by the Flyquest support, will result in a Baron over to PSG. Now let's see what they're able to do with this objective. Already positioning towards this tier 2 in the mid. 4 members alive, or around this objective. It looks to be a 4-1 setup for PSG. They could really go 1-3-1, but they're not going to go for it. Instead, they're just going to be content with split pushing with this Rumble, who's able to pick up tier 2 on the bot side. He's kind of left in isolation as Jensen roaming back up to join the rest of his team. The Weaver's Wall's going to come through, and that's the initial engage going to come through from Junjai. Going to be slowed up by this Jinx as the Zap lands, but tier 2 in the mid lane is picked up by PSG, and that's actually going to be the kill. Finally traded over as Mezu going to secure that one with the Ultra Mega Deathfire Rocket. PSG, some may say overstep, as Jensen finds the Weaver's Wall that separates and forces an engage. Bear in mind, this Flyquest squad kind of wanted to fight about 10 minutes ago. Now they're in a situation where they're going to be outscaled and put on the back foot as Equalizer's dropped down yet again. Sterak's procced out from Bwipo. PSG stepping forward because they know they can. Even in a 4v5, they can step up because they realize that Flyquest just don't have the largest of health bars. They can burn through them quite quickly and easily. Anyway, this is a great Weaver's Wall from Jensen. It does keep Bwipo out the play, who isn't really able to do much, but it also kept 2 members of PSG out of it. Then it's just a really good rocket, as it kind of was forced out with the Zap, the pathing that Junjai took, but he pathed straight into the rocket and got executed off. Clean as you like. Probably a very well worked play by Flyquest to respond to a Baron push. But let's be honest. Flyquest did not want to be dealing with a Baron push with this comp. Now, the good thing for them is, in 2 minutes 30, they've got a game-deciding fight. Not even that. It's a minute 30, because I was looking at the Baron timer. A minute 30 is when we have Soul for Flyquest if they secure it. And that extra damage Hexol provides is a huge buff that they will realistically want. Now, obviously right now, PSG are going to play with respect. They know that Flyquest are looking to get aggressive, try and force picks with the objective up in 50 seconds. Death time is now that long where if you die, you can't really contest the objective. So, PSG taking resets, buying up control wards, and are actually going to be looking to contest around it. Because look at them. Look at them beauties. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 control wards for the squad. And Flyquest, they're getting the mid-wave cut. The Azir turret yet again proving its worth, killing off the wave as the engage comes through from PSG. Burning alive is going to be the Urgot, who Starix is procced. That's the flash out. The long range from PSG is proving hard to deal with if you're Flyquest, as Senna is just deleting them. A double kill over to Betty as the Urgot finally dies. They're on the final chase as Jensen, it's not Jensen, it's Mesu, the Jinx, being ran away. Maple not going to find him. Instead, the Jinx probably is not going to get away. Oh, one auto would have denied the bag. Instead, soul point for PSG is going to be secured. And that was a well-worked engage by PSG. Playing the range well. And this is the hard thing now for Flyquest. And I'm going to point this out once we see it. The Azir turret. Perfect. I'm going to pause it here. Or I would do if it would let me. I'm going to go back a few seconds. Firstly, that guy is really good for PSG. Because you cannot step forward if you are Flyquest in the mid lane. Your wave's being cut. That is what PSG are doing. They're cutting a wave. So, Flyquest think, well, Azir is over here isolated. Instead of going for the easy target, let's go for the TK. Or throw in the hook onto the 3 carries and hope for the best situation. It hits TK, who very bulky. It's a great seismic shove out from Jensen. It hits onto 2 or 3, I think, which then forces PSG into the play. So already Busio out of usable abilities, so he's useless. So PSG ignore the Nautilus. Instead, they continue to target Bwipo. I think the last 5 or 6 catalysms that have come through have been onto Bwipo. And this time, he gets a nice little Masu in the pit, who gets cooked up with the equalizer. Perfect as well, because it also clips onto Jensen. Burning down is the big ADC. Steric's Gauge gets procced out of Bwipo. As on the bottom half of the fight, what we're not actually seeing is Inspired and Busio being bullied by Maple. But on the top half of it, it's just look at the range of Betty. Able to free hit in from there onto Bwipo. It's huge. When we come back to live, Baron started up, Weaver's Wall dropped. They're looking to burn the objective. Flyquest, they will secure the objective for themselves, but the Cataclysm engage comes through. The equalizer not that good. Instead, it's PSG on the retreat as Bwipo getting forward is getting chunked quite low. Steric's Gate going to keep him topped up a little bit more. And now Flyquest, you've secured the Baron and looking for too much maybe. PSG going to force them back. This Flyquest squad getting hungry. Trying to get trade backs, but to no avail, let's be honest. So, how long have I been on this screen? Oh wait, no, this is the right one. Sorry, apologies. I'm getting confused. Anyway, I think I'm on the right stream. Hopefully I am. Anyway. This Baron's not really being utilized well here by Flyquest. Can I just point that out? 900 gold off this. They haven't got to push him mid. Because they can't set one up. The Azir towers are really hard to deal with as well. Can I just point that out? Maple has played this game pretty goddamn well. Bot wave's just cut. They're not willing to step forward for Flyquest. So this Baron is kind of wasted. And like, you can say, sure, they're getting gold to build up and try and fight, but bear in mind, PSG are always getting stronger. Finally, the Weaver's Wall is going to be thrown out. Maple caught, but not going to be punished. Equalizer dropped just to push Flyquest away. Not really to do much more, because the engage won't come through from PSG here. They're just defending their tower. Finally, Flyquest, get a bit of damage down onto spot lane tier 2. But PSG staying around. Obviously, no equalizer for foreseeable future. Dawning Shadow thrown out as well. They're trying to just burn Flyquest health bars and deny any form of engage, and they've done well here. Azir Tower dropped. This Baron push is just turning into nothing. The only good thing is that they're going to be able to pick up a tier 2 in the top side of the map. Or mid lane, I couldn't really tell. But a tower went in favour of Flyquest. And so, it was mid lane tier 2, I think. Who knows? Either way, gold in the back pocket of Flyquest. Even if it's not in the most optimal ways of getting it, they are getting some gold into their back pocket. As watch this get. Oh, it was the bot lane. The cannon got through and destroyed it. That explains a lot. I was wondering where the tower fell. So that's an in-hub tower down. Flyquest get a massive chunk of gold there. In this 42-minute game, Jesus. A lot longer than most games that we've seen this year. Oh my. Oh me. Soul on the table for both these teams now. 30 seconds until it is on the table. This is probably the game-winning fight to whomever gets it, really. It's going to be either a clean ace or multiple casualties. There's not going to be just one death on either side, resulting in it. As Bucio's hook goes wide, he's going to be forced out, but that's the Cataclysm using Jarvan. Burnt quite low. He has his Starix procced as well. So now, Flyquest should feel confident to go for the play. Weaver's Wall drop down. But the Equalizer drop down in response as well as the Dawning Shadow. Bucio's incredibly yellow. What was that damage? Jinx gets absolutely deleted from the fight. Soul, though, going to be picked up here by Flyquest, but it will not matter. 3 kills over to PSG, and they're looking to win the game here and now. The push is going to come through as that mid lane tier 3 in the eyes of the PCS squad, who have 5 members standing. That was a clean fight. I'm intrigued to see how the Jinx got bursted out so quickly. Bwipo left standing in his grave, and it's just Betty going legendary. That's all that needs to be said. The wave won't be cut as the Senna's just pranging away at the Sejuani. This is what happens when you let a Senna scale, and you can't really play lane swap meta into it. PSG pick up game number 1. First one in the books of MSI. An interesting thing to say the least. We're gonna GOL game 2, as my throat is it's dying already. I'm realizing tomorrow I've got another 2 games adding to the roster, but I'm thinking we might push the T1 series till then. Bear in mind, play-ins is quite short. I'm going to push some series back, because I don't think I can handle another one tonight. Anyway. They're not quick access games I want. Tournaments. MSI. Hello. Match list number dear. By the way, it's also T1 versus Flyquest. Let's look at game 2, 44 to 32. Let's discuss pick ban. Nami Lucian versus Kalista Ashe. Lucian def NA. NA Jace is what EU Lucian is. A bogey pick. And the fact that the LCS performed really well on Lucian and EU can't play it, versus Jace where EU can play a hell of a lot of good Jace, whereas LCS just can't. It's kind of that funny thing that we see here as a good Lucian game. Really defines everything. Bwipo yet again on a really strong Urgot performance. I mean, this is what you kind of wanted in game 1 that you started to see a bit of. But yeah, a very unkillable Urgot. And he's able to pick up 10 kills for the team. CSD is massive. And realistically speaking, I think that is a huge point for this game. As getting to play, no plays at. There's no timeline. Where's the timeline? There's no stats for this. What? Anyway, let's go into game 3, I guess. Why is there no stats for it? It's absolutely insane. Let's go. The lights are on. Pick ban phase for the third game of this best of 3. PSG, take blue side Flyquest back on red. Lee Sin, Renekton, Kalista? Flyquest, Bandiari, and Vi. Will we see a Azir removed here? It's actually Lucian banned, so Kalista. I think that would be smart. More than anything. Kalista. Then you give what? What's the counter pick? Draven, maybe? Talia's banned, so Kalista pick up here or Azir pick up. Because you're giving over either one of them to the other. It's going to be Kalista priority for PSG. So I forget that Bwipo always hovers Kaiser. I forgot that's the thing. Do we see Jinx Azir? Jinx Azir could be a possible duo for Flyquest. Urgot also up there. But the Varus is up and available. So that's going straight into Masu's back pocket. So poke bot lane could be what we see. Ashe, I think, is a big pick that would, if PSG have it, they would go for it. But I think Ashe comes through here now. A bit more prio in that. But it's going to be Jensen's Ori. So I think what we may end up seeing is a absolute wombo combo from Flyquest. The Varusal into massive burst damage from the empowered Q, piercing arrow as it's actually called, combined with the shockwave, cataclysm maybe from a Jarvan. PSG, I don't really like the Karma alongside Kalista. I get why, because you want the actual sustain and supportive bot laner instead of a hard engager. But Nautilus is available unless you flex the Karma around. I'd much rather see a hard engage pick with this Kalista though. Zinzo comes through, and that's the hard engager that I would have loved to have seen with this Kalista. Ashe, though, up and available. Renata going to be banned out. I think Ashe has to be removed here if you're Flyquest. Because, obviously, they're kind of expecting the Karma to go elsewhere mid lane with Malignance or top. It can still go there. But certainly not in the bot lane as a support. So, they're just covering their bases here for Flyquest. Got removed from Whippo makes sense after looking at the GOL stats. What else is there? Also, can I give a shout out to how good the Flyquest jerseys look? They always seem to put on good jerseys for internationals, like compared to other teams. Like G2 are the other team that do banger jerseys, but Flyquest are also really good. Anyway, back to talking about League. Bands coming through: Rumble, Ergot, Renata. I'd expect presumably a Sedge ban or a Viego ban from PSG. Remove that from Inspired, because a carry-orientated jungler is sort of looking quite juicy here for Flyquest. Instead, Viego's up. You've also got some other picks for Bwipo, Cassante, Lee Sin's band. Yeah, I think we'll see a carry-orientated jungler here. Never mind, Sejuani. Frontline duty for Inspired this entire series. He must be enjoying that so much. Regardless. In we go. Rel there, Cassante. They're being flexed about. But only one can actually come through in this first rotation of picks. In the second phase. Cassante and... What? What are you giving us, PSG, in this final slot? I would absolutely adore a Rel here. Alistar, maybe. That's also a good pick. Probably not the best into Nautilus. Never mind, they're just going to lock in the Rel. Nice. So, draft complete on PSG side. They've got a decent front line. Low AP damage. That's probably my biggest concern for them. You're relying heavily on Maple to actually get damage down. But if... That's a rundown comp from Flyquest. If this Olaf's just able to run down Maple... Yeah, I think this is a hard game for PSG. I love this pick from Bwipo. And this is something that I don't remember. Has Bwipo faced Add-on yet? Or ever? I don't think we've seen that. Because Bwipo's been in the LCS for 2 years. Yeah, no. We definitely haven't seen PSG versus BDS. Kind of surprising, all things considered. So, I'm ready. We're raring to go. It's time for the third game in this best of 3. The score's 1-1. Only one team can advance in the upper bracket. Who will be that team? Will it be Flyquest, the LCS second seed? Or will it be the PCS's only hope at the MSI tournament in PSG? Only time will tell as we're getting ready to jump onto the Rift for this final game. I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say. As I let out a yawn from tiredness. Let's just, okay. Looks like we're just getting onto the Rift. I don't need to fast forward. Anyway, onto the Rift we go. Let's take a look at everything. Don't like where that camera is. Looking at starts, looking to be possibly a standard 2v2 bot lane with where everyone's positioned. However, we are seeing PSG be the team to keep everyone kind of located towards the mid lane so that they can make a switch if necessary. But no, it looks 2v2 centric as Callista and the Rel head to the bot side to face off against the Nautilus and Varus. I'm intrigued as to why this is staying a 2v2 lane. I would have much preferred the 2v1 if you are PSG, but already this Olaf getting aggressive early, forcing Cassante back with the level 1 undertows being very prevalent in just constant harassment. PSG will sort of play it smart. They've got themselves in the bot lane a bit of a stying push. They have also managed to get for themselves not too much. They will probably hit level 2 first. As there we go. They're going to keep Flyquest on the back foot. As the triple lane camera here, I like a lot. We get to see a lot of differences in terms of how the teams are playing the matchups. And right now, the early levels are surprising me. I would have thought the Varus and Nautilus would have hit level 2 first. Instead, it's gonna be PSG's bot lane getting the early advantage, and Callista will have quite a lot of power early game, same as Varus, but Varus's ramps up a little bit better than what Callista's will as this game goes on. So, realistically speaking, we are going to probably see a bit more safety out of the Flyquest bot lane because they're just content with just scaling. Meanwhile, topside, Olaf doesn't really have a scaling element to him. He's just content with being a buff dude in that top lane that can do damage. And I mean, bot side, a little bit of damage thrown down. Obviously, Aftershock gonna mean that the damage is subjugated, but the possible re-engage from Flyquest, oops, not Flyquest, PSG, was a possibility there. They aren't gonna overstep, and so, as it stands, PSG content with continuing to push. Inspired hovering. It looks to be a catch out as where did that hook go from Busio? It doesn't really matter though, as the constant CC chain out from Flyquest just gonna be unmatched as First Blood goes over to Mezu. And that's the sort of gold injection this Varus needed to kind of right the bot lane in his favor a bit more. Now, the good thing is, if you're PSG, you should realistically be able to get yourself a good back here, as Busio going to be caught out, he's dead. Maybe the trade back can come through, as that's going to be a double 2 kills over to Mezu in this early game. The trade back or the clamp back from this Callista is not really available, as that mana bar incredibly low. That's good work there from Flyquest to turn a bad situation around for them. And so, PSG, arguably losing it through the bot side of the map, I think is the best way to word it. As mid lane, Maple just going to do some work. He is getting himself quite a bit of damage down. But this is a bad situation if you're Bwipo. No level 6, so he has no CC negation. And the Olaf gets destroyed as Maple could fall outright. He is going to be able to use his Mantra E or E to get himself quickly towards the rest of his team, who were obviously topside collapsing down onto Bwipo. Now, we could take a little bit of slow break in terms of the action. Shouldn't really see too much, probably objective trades yet again, as Grubs and the first Drake of the game are on the table. Chem Drake first is always a good sign because it means that Soul more likely will be a decent one. But yeah, it's the trade that everyone's come to love. Void Grubs for Drake. PSG get the Void Grubs, Flyquest get the Drake, and immediately my head is just telling me this objective trade probably is very beneficial to Flyquest because... Oh. Hook lands. What was that? Damage down onto the Callista. Not going to be resulting in a kill. Just a decent chip onto Betty to keep him on the back foot. Wave going to crash in, and finally Flyquest bot lane going to get a decent back here. Boots picked up on this Varus, who's already sitting on a gold bounty, by the way. Kind of a nice thing to see. So, top side, wave pushed in. Back taken there by Bobo. Has himself a phage. And a couple of long swords. He's going to be content, happy with where he is. Meanwhile, PSG haven't had a reset yet. Cedral goes wide. And PSG get to go for the scuttle topside. And supports up in mid. Looking for a fight. Let's be honest, there's not much to do. As it stands, Flyquest are just trying to keep PSG away from the bot side of the map. Because Messu's in a winning state of the game. Vamp Scepter versus Rika Bow. And that's the difference in that bot lane. I think the gold's relatively even down there. To say least, considering the fact there is a kill difference between the two ADCs. But yeah. Pace will slow down. That's for sure. As level 6 finally picked up by one of the supports. Probably should start to see would he get his ult? Because the next or possible team fight opportunity is in a minute 20. You'd expect him to have it by then, so that you can contest this Void Grub spawn. Because I think Flyquest won't sit and give this one up like they did in Game 1. Game 1 was kind of a yikes, all things considered. They really should have secured that, but they didn't. So, here we go. "40 seconds, and then we'll possibly see it play." I'm just looking to see if anyone's taking a reset recently, and to where the supports are. They're both bot side still. So, no one's down for going for set objective. But maybe this is the play that Flyquest needed. Maple, this karma can't run away too far. It's just going to be deleted off. Zinzao looking to trade back, but the wind becomes lightning. Doesn't give Zinzao any real damage or follow-up potential. As this is just supportal combat being shown to us. But yeah, Flyquest are finding the picks. Needs to be said. So watch this again. It's a good wraparound. He dashes over the wall. The jungle pet won't be seen, and it's just easy ult into shockwave, into just damage. Obviously trying to give the kill over to Jensen, the most optimal person to give it to. But yeah, Flyquest get the kill, but again, it's the Void Grub secured by PSG. Another 6 grub game, it has to seem like. Drake will spawn and PSG won't be able to contest. Because you look how Flyquest is setting up. The deep vision's laid down so that PSG can't really step into the river. Unless they fight. Abusio and Inspired are playing bouncer. Now the objective. Drake pulled out of the pit. PSG stepping forward. The hook lands onto the rel, but inevitably she's going to crash down and force the kills over to her ADC. It's actually a 1-for-1 trade as Varus is going to be able to pick up one, but the face call is going to be called and used as rel re-engages. The cleanse burnt out here as Flyquest getting chunked incredibly low, but the shockwave gets the pick off as Ozzy goes too deep. Flyquest get a 2-for-1 trade? No, 1-for-1 trade in the fight. I thought the rel fell. She did not. Actually, it was the Xin Zhao that fell. It was a 2-for-1 trade. That's actually beneficial to them. But I'm looking at where Flyquest are. They're nowhere near this Drake. They are going to be punished for it. So we take a look at this fight again. And it's just rel and Naut just fighting one another. Kalissa able to get herself a kill onto Busio, because Busio has no sums or abilities. And this is where PSG overstep. All Out pulls the Cassante under tower, but the shockwave plus piercing arrow from the Varus secures the kill onto the overstepping Cassante. Simple as that. It's just a mistimed ulti from Cassante, causing himself to fall in the play. So we continue forward. That's going to be the Xin Zhao ulti used. And yeah, we're slowing it down. The tempo goes from really rapid to absolutely nothing in 0 to 10 seconds as Jensen looks to kill off Maple. Shockwave pulled back this Karma. Spy's there just to pick up the assist. And that's a free push in the bot lane for Flyquest. They're finding the picks in this game. PSG getting sloppy. You have to feel in where they're positioning. Because right now, you should have expected it. Your team's in the top side of the map here, Maple. You're isolating yourself, and Flyquest did it to you in game 1.